Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It's Thursday, April 6th, 2023. Here's what's happening today in America. Trump's indictment bounce. Tech mogul killed in San Francisco. Taiwanese president visits California. And do not eat the food on this plane. It's all coming up. Then Bill here with the message of the day. First, Trump got the expected bounce after being indicted and arrested, and he got his 6th U.S. Senate endorsement. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith from Mississippi. 48% of Republicans say they want Trump to be their party's nominee, up from 44% 2 weeks ago. So right now, Trump's at 48 and DeSantis is at 19. DeSantis is winning in Florida, but only 44 to 39. People are talking about if Trump's going to serve any jail time. These charges are usually nothing. If anything, they're misdemeanors. They've been bumped up to felonies, but they're still the lowest kind. Either way, each charge technically has a 4-year prison potential, so 136 years, but that would never happen to a normal person. Meanwhile, the mother of a veteran who was stabbed to death in New York City said, if no one's above the law, then I don't understand how Alvin Bragg could dismiss murder and gang assault indictments against 2 of the people involved in the murder of my son. Her son, Army veteran, father of 3, stabbed to death in Harlem. The killer was convicted of 20 years to life. The other 2 got plea deals. The founder of Cash App, Bob Lee, was stabbed to death in San Francisco. He's 43. He was also the chief tech officer at Square and a Google software engineer. It's a broad daylight. And it was in a quote-unquote good part of the city. Appears to be a random mugging and attack. Meanwhile, in another one of our wonderful cities, we celebrated when the mayor of Chicago was booted out of office, Lori Lightfoot, but the people of Chicago went even further left. Brandon Johnson beat the moderate Democrat. Brandon Johnson wants illegal immigrants to vote in local elections. The Speaker of the House met with the president of Taiwan at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in California. This always makes China very upset. This is the first meeting between a Taiwanese president and the U.S. Speaker of the House on U.S. soil. The Chinese embassy sent a 4-page email to members of Congress warning them not to meet with the Taiwanese president, saying this is a blatant provocation. I imagine the accommodations on Air Force One are pretty good. I've never been there, but I imagine. But apparently the food on Air Force Two, not so much. Staffers who fly on the vice president's plane are not happy. A former staffer says it's a little more Southwest Airlines than Four Seasons. Another called it horrible slop. When you ride Air Force One, you get filet mignon and other hot delicacies on gold-rimmed plates. But the vice president's staffers get cold pasta salad and soggy cold-cut sandwiches on white rolls. And maybe, if you're lucky, a bag of chips. The vice president having to live like the rest of us. Bill O'Reilly with your message of the day. Next.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors. If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-687-1936 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-687-1936 now. Again, 800-687-1936. That's 800-687-1936.
Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Thursday, a few things are clear about the Trump indictment. First, after his press conference, I think it's fair to say that Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is not exactly Elliot Ness or even Barney Fife. His entire case rests on the assertion that Donald Trump used illegal business practices to cover up or commit a greater crime. But what crime? Bragg told reporters he doesn't have to say. Oh, it's instructive to put Alvin Bragg in the TV show Law & Order: Criminal Intent. The fearless lawman is convinced that an alleged dalliance between Mr. Trump and an actress named Stormy Daniels, which occurred in 2006, is the basis of 34 felonies in 2023. Wow. Think about it. 10 years after the interlude supposedly occurred, Miss Stormy shows up with a lawyer demanding money. Why? Because it's 2 weeks before the election of 2016. If Daniels had not brought the lawyer, who's now in prison, she could have been charged with alleged extortion. And another woman went to the National Enquirer wanting money for a story about Trump. These are the people Alvin Bragg is basing his case on. The hapless DA has to know that intent to violate the law has to be established in order to convict Donald Trump. Surely, the former president's lawyers will say money changed hands to avoid family embarrassment. That happens in litigation every minute of the day. So this case is weak. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Now let's go to the mail. Henry, Mr. O, I think this Benjamin Franklin quote is worthy. Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become more corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters, unquote. Well, we're corrupt, but I think we're going to get out of this. Joseph Ricka, Renton, Washington, because the judicial system in this country is totally corrupt. There's no way Trump can get a fair trial in New York City. The reason why is because the Democrats on the jury will never issue a not guilty verdict. It's true, and he may get a change of venue, but remember, Bragg and the judge that's assigned to the case, who Trump does not like, they go with the change of venue. But if I were Trump's lawyers, I'd get it out of New York City. Absolutely. Reed Hindman, Ottawa, Canada. Bill, can Alvin Bragg be sued for malicious prosecution? No. They're indemnified. All members of the court are indemnified from civil suits. You cannot sue them in the United States. I don't think you can in Canada either. Bill Rogers, Camillus, New York. I've never been affiliated with any political party, but I am conservative. With 7 years of mostly ridiculous attacks on Donald Trump, I am changing. I am registering as a Republican. This way, I will be able to vote for him in a primary. Okay, there's a lot of people rallying to the Republican cause right now. There's no doubt about it. Jim Knox, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Why are sealed documents and gag orders appropriate for the types of charges brought against Trump? Well, sealed documents are grand jury documents. All grand jury is sealed everywhere. Okay, so that's not unusual. There was no gag order because it would have been immediately challenged in a federal court, and the judge didn't want that. In a moment, something you might not know. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 14 million Jews around the world are now marking the week-long holiday of Passover. The celebration commemorates the freeing of Jewish slaves from Egypt more than 3,000 years ago. The story can be found in the Old Testament, the book of Exodus. After years of oppression, Moses, commanded by God, asked Pharaoh Ramses II to free the Israelites from bondage. When the Pharaoh refuses, 10 plagues are unleashed on the Egyptians. The Nile River turns to blood. Frogs overrun the land. Lice infest the kingdom. Wild animals attack Cairo. Disease kills all livestock. Painful boils erupt on human skin. Hail falls from the sky. Locusts devour the crops. Darkness finally envelops the country. For the final plague, God dispatches an avenging angel to kill every firstborn in Egypt. Instructed by the deity to mark their homes with lamb's blood, the plague passes over Jewish houses. The Pharaoh ultimately relents to Moses. The Jews are free. According to the Bible, the Hebrews, now numbering in the hundreds of thousands, then trek through the Sinai desert for 40 years before reaching their ancestral home in the land of Israel. So, is that story true? For centuries, scholars have been debating the historical accuracies of the events. Though the ancient Egyptians did keep thorough records, no mention is made of Moses, Jewish slaves, or the plagues. And here's something else you might not know. For thousands of years, the Jewish community has never skipped a Passover celebration, even during the Holocaust. Seders were held in the ghettos across Europe. Prayer books were also found in concentration camps. During World War II, the Nazis murdered 6 million Jews. Today, the global Jewish population is finally back to pre-Holocaust levels. The Passover tradition survives, a sacred time in the Jewish faith. Back after this. The chairman of the Fed is promising more pain ahead. Last year, stocks dropped 20%, and this year could be worse. You are right to be worried. So please call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Since I have been a client and spokesperson, the price of gold has appreciated more than 35%. So please call today and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $5,000 of free silver on your first order. Please call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.